Hi, it's Wren and welcome to this painting lesson. We'll be glazing a painting using acrylic paint on an acrylic painting on canvas. You can use oil painting on oil paintings, and you can also glaze with watercolour on watercolours. I'm using the Winsor & Newton Artist Quality, and I'm using their gloss medium. I'm putting it in a palette and I'll be mixing it with a little bit of cadmium orange. Now if you look at the wallaby, you'll see a soft apricot, greyed back apricot blush in the lighter areas of the wallaby, and you'll see a blue-grey in the shadows. So these are the colours that I'll be using for the glaze. What I'm wanting to do is to create more of a three-dimensional effect into this painting. I want the advancing wallaby to be the dominant feature of the painting, so I don't want you to be looking so much at the background. I also want to push the rear end of the wallaby further back into the painting, make it more three-dimensional, and I'll do this by glazing over it, which will throw it slightly out of focus. Now, initially, if I mix that orange and the medium together, it's fairly bright orange. Now, if I'm putting it on thin, that will be okay, but if I want to grey it back, I'll be using more of the blue into it to combine orange and blue together will grey those tones back. So I'm just watching the effect of what I put down to see whether or not I need to modify it. So far it's working all right. If I want to make it more opaque, I will be adding a little bit of white, but at this stage I haven't really added that. Now I'm going to glaze right over the tail because, as I said, I want to throw this rear of the wallaby back into the distance slightly, and by glazing over it I'll be throwing it slightly out of focus. Now I'm just cross-hatching backwards and forwards. I'm working with a very soft brush. It's a synthetic with some sable hair in it. Now, just playing around, watching what I'm doing, putting the pigment on heavier in certain areas. Now if this glaze ends up being too orange, all I need to do, which I do at the very end, is to glaze back over it again with more blue in the glaze. Remembering if you put opposite colours together, they grey each other out. So initially, we're going in with more of the cadmium orange and the glazing medium on the brush. The final result will show the effect after I've glazed back over again using the ultramarine blue. And as you can see, everything's being thrown a little bit more out of focus in the background. I'm doing part of the mixing on the painting, the same as I do when I paint. I'm using different degrees of intensity of the pigment in different parts of the painting. I don't want it to be just one same glaze. You can create an even glaze, but I like the effect of varying the pigment, varying the tone intensity, and I think it works well for this particular painting. Wow, I went a bit heavy-handed there. I wipe it out. It's good to have cloths you could always wipe out. I'm dipping it into the medium to give it a bit of moisture and wiping out. And remember, if I come out too colourful, I will just mix the opposite colour in, which you'll see down at the end of this painting. The final print will show a lot of greyed back colours all around the edges of the painting, which throws the eye into the area where the wallaby's head is. It's a perfect positioning for your major point of focus. You never want your main point of focus to be too close to the edges of your painting or too near the centre. If you weren't trying to create varied tones and colours throughout the painting, you would just mix up enough transparent glaze or semi-opaque glaze at the start of the painting, and you'd paint all the way across the whole painting in the same way you would apply a varnish. But I'm trying to individualise and put the amount of glaze and tint of the glaze on as I think suits each part of the painting. And I'm doing it gradually so that I don't put it on too hard in any one spot. It's very subtle, just trying to push that kangaroo back, the wallaby, back further into the distance and bring the head out. And I don't want it to be obvious. I want to just do this glazing very subtly. I find it easier to build up subtly rather than to apply it heavily and wipe back. But some people like to apply it heavily and then rub out the areas where they don't want as much. There's no set rule. See the lumps of paint that I've got on that brush? That's allowing me to press harder and get more colour, and press lightly and higher up on the tip of the brush and get less colour, and it saves me going back. I'm just finding that technique is working for me for this painting. Look, a lot of it's practice. A huge amount of it is practice. You learn the theory of how you do things, but you put a lot of time in on practicing. So it's being demonstrated to seeing things done, being taught the theory of how you do it, and then constructive critique. That's the ideal format for learning. You can book constructive critiques with me or enroll at a tuition level where you get the constructive critique, and you can show me your painting, or if you're a writer, about 3,000 words, which is for many people a chapter, and I'll take a good look at it and I'll do a constructive critique lesson for you based on your own work. And that is how I learned, by doing private and semi-private or small group lessons with skilled art teachers, artists, who would show me how they painted, explain why they painted that way, and didn't just say very nice when I showed them my work, but were able to teach me how I could improve. I've wasted a lot of money in masterclasses where I have gone to very skilled, brilliant artists, but when a student has asked them a question or shown them their work, they've just got a very nice dear, which is patronising, and to me that's a hobby class. And I don't give hobby classes. I really do want to help you become an artist if that's what you're wanting. That's what I aim my lessons for. Not to hide any secrets. I want to show you everything that I've learned over my 65 years of professional life as an artist. I'm loving how this is developing. Certainly it's too orange. I will tone all that orange back. Now I've explained what to do. You would use the opposite colour. Opposites grey each other out. All I need to do is to glaze over that with a little bit more of the ultramarine blue, and that's going to push all that bright orange back into greys. soft greys like the greys in the kangaroo. It's going to make that look like that wallaby is hopping out of the bush at twilight. They're very active at dusk and early dawn. They tend to lay around and sleep during the warm part of the day. They're a nocturnal animal. A lot of Australia's wildlife is nocturnal, and that's what I'm wanting to capture. Every painting should tell a story. You're not just painting a subject. You needed to convey something to the reader, to the viewer. This wallaby is sharing a moment in his life with you. This is the before picture, and this is the too bright after picture, and this is the greyed back after picture. I love the new version after the glazing. What do you think? Let me know.